Greetings, my friend and earthly neighbor, and welcome to the next exciting episode of what I've coined Sensible September. And it's sensible because I think this is the only sensible month of the year. But the good news is, this week, you launch the new Me-ality. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Hello and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Sensei Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, Lightwalker. Namaste. We're into the third week now of Sensible September. I have to say, this is probably going to be the most sensible it gets. This week, the collective consciousness will launch a new Me-ality. That means a new reality that's based on all of the crazy changes and powerful improvements you've made in your life so far. But at the same time, Chiron is opposing, which means as we launch one thing, we reorganize another. So in today's show, I'm going to talk about what is involved in the new Me-ality and what the collective consciousness will be facing in Soul Collective. And later in our tea time, I'm going to give you some real interesting details about what you're launching and what you're reorganizing. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Monday, September 17th to Friday, September 21st, 2018. Looking at your 5-day moodcast, each day the day gets a little more intense with the climax this weekend. Let's drill down. On Monday, I predict sunny and rather peaceful. Step 24 rules the day. It's time to elevate to the Me-ality you belong, and the moon in Capricorn keeps things on the straight and narrow. On Tuesday, it's cloudy, overcast, and refining. Step 25 rules the day, which means your spirit is really the dominant state awareness, and the moon in Capricorn has you planning for the future. On Wednesday, it's sunny and committed. This is the time you will make your commitment for the new Me-ality, and the moon in Aquarius allows you to detach. On Thursday, it's sunny and leaping forward. Probably the most exciting day of the week. Your plans to change your life move forward, and the moon in Aqua keeps it cool. And then on Friday, it's sunny and birthing. You are manifesting the new Me-ality and heading for a weekend of tests. Looking at the week ahead, we're basically launching a whole new way of looking at life. I call it the new Me-ality. In our next segment, I'll talk about the collective consciousness and how they're building up to it. Taking a sneak peek at this upcoming week, this week the Soul Collective Consciousness is launching a new Me-ality. And Me-ality is my little word, if you haven't figured that out yet. It's really the truth. I don't know why we call it reality, as if we keep repeating. Well, I guess that does make sense, doesn't it? Most people are caught in reality. And what I preach is Me-ality, which is taking control of your interactive rights with the consciousness around you and manifesting a world that truly orbits around you. Now, it doesn't have to do it selfishly, by the way. In fact, if you manifest your Me-ality from the heart, something your heart truly wants, everything will law of attract to fit into your Me-ality. And you probably already know this is true, right? You probably see it on the news all the time. We look at different people with different opinions and we're like, whoa, that person lives in an entirely different world. Yes, they live an entirely different Me-ality, and it's okay. I think when we are kind of asleep as humans, we expect everyone to conform to our Me-ality because we're unaware of the fact that the universe will conspire to law of attract according to the vibration you put out. But I think as we begin to wake up, we stop pushing, we stop forcing ourselves onto other people's Me-ality, and we step back and allow the law of attraction to do its job, to edit in and out the people, the situations, the opportunities, the knowledge, the experiences, the feelings that our heart truly wants to bring in. So all this year, just to catch up, and if you're just finding me, thank you. So grateful for whoever referred you. This entire year of 2018 has been really about cleaning up the me in Me-ality. We've been clearing out karma, clearing out a bucket list of spiritual issues we had to face, facing our fears. And really, I would say 2017 was breaking free, like making a break in the foundation. And 2018, we have been slowly breaking free from that old me-ality, that old way of living, and that old story. Literally, the story we were born to, which is based on the stories we have lived in the past. So this week, we are finally cleaned out with our me. We have our me as clean as it's going to get. Okay, let's put it that way. Even if you got a ton of issues, that's as much as we could do in the time. We're going to take that cleaned out me and we're going to launch a new me-ality. In other words, we're going to launch a new effort to create a new life, a new law of attraction matrix based on the new me that we are putting out there in the world vibration. So I think it's going to be a powerful week, and I think it's very necessary that you move forward. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, and that's going to be the case for the next 3 years, I just want to say. So don't be waiting to see what Trump does. Don't be waiting to see what with Les Moonves does. Don't wait to see how anything is going to happen. This is your me-ality, and you will law of attract according to your me-ality. You don't have to be energetically connected to the entire world and trying to fit into the entire world when you are in creation mode, okay? The law of attraction will reassemble things, and if you're wondering when that'll happen, next week, when the sun goes into Libra. This week, we want to launch our me-ality. So some of the features of this week that I'm looking forward to. First of all, we complete our Virgo season. It was a bumpy road this year, less bumpy than I think it has been in past years, I have to say. But this week, things get very passionate because we're in all the step 20s. Step 20 is how you feel about this, how you feel about that. So this is a week of, as you're trying to launch the new me-ality, which may come down to a job, it may come down to a new car, it may come down to a new health regimen, it may come down to a new way of looking at yourself in life. It really can vary depending on what project you're using to launch it. But whatever you launch, you're going to have to kind of go with how you feel. You got to feel through it. So you might have expected to go here, but then you have to kind of move around because there's an obstacle. So expect to launch your me-ality, but also expect to be willing to go with the strides of how things turn out based on how you feel. I've had a lot of times in my life where I thought it was a great idea, and then I got there, didn't feel so great. So at the end of the day, that's what we're going for, is a great emotional experience, a great moment in our life. So this week we move forward, but we're doing some twists and turns, and we move into the final test on Saturday at step 29, and then we shift into Libra on Sunday at step 0 Libra. Now, what's cool about this week is Mercury has finally caught up to the Sun since it's retrograde in late July, early August. And this week, our hearts and our minds come together. So the Sun and Mercury are actually conjunct, married together for 2 days. The 2 days are on Thursday and Friday, and it's basically at the launch. So it's interesting, the timing. Right when we're ready to launch, our mind and our heart come together, and we kind of are able to operate as one. So you're going to find that you're able to make a lot of long-term decisions this week, or when I mean long-term, I mean, for the final fourth quarter of the year, or for the next 6 months, or for the next year or so. You'll have enough information, your heart will be clear, you'll be ready to make some commitments and decisions. And so this is a good thing, because up until this week, our mind has still been lagging, particularly in the past. Once Mercury moves in front of the Sun, which begins to happen on Friday, on Saturday really, then all of our thoughts start going toward the future and no longer cleaning up the past. Thank Goddess Hallelujah, right? So tired of that. Another feature is our emotions this week. Emotions are very, very professional to get the job done. We start with the moon in Capricorn. So in the first couple of days, you're feeling your power, you're feeling your decision-making authority, and so you're kind of taking control of your life. Saturn is direct, so how we take control of the wheel right now is probably how we're going to keep our hands on the wheel. So this is kind of a momentous moment too, because we're moving forward with new control of our life, new ways of steering our life. Then the moon moves into Aquarius, and we sort of detach and kind of feel the big picture. And that's really how we're going to feel when we launch. Once we launch, We will be emotionally detached because the moon will be in Aquarius. Again, the universe, I think, is providing the perfect energetic support for all of this to happen. And then once we launch into space over the weekend, the moon moves into Pisces, and it will really be like Major Tom to ground control. You're just going to kind of be, I think, floating this weekend as we get tested on step 29 with all of our Me-ality. Our Me-ality gets tested, and then we move into Libra, which is the beginning of the season of how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to others. Now, Venus is in the shadow period, and this means that currently the options that we're opening up to may later be deemed as shadow options. Now, the shadow doesn't mean bad, it just means not light. There's no light there, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean there's bacteria growing in there and then it's going to give you a disease, but it does mean that, oh, that's maybe not in the highest light, maybe not in the highest love vibration or the highest good. But nonetheless, because we want to launch our Me-ality, we have to open up to certain things. Venus this week is saying it's time to open up to certain boundaries from step 5 to step 8. So you may find that you have to open up to something new in order to launch the Me-ality. And I've given many examples of this before, but choices have consequences, and consequences mean you got to sit there and you got to do it when you said you were going to do. So don't worry, though. Whatever you open up to may be adjustable once Venus goes retrograde on October 6th to November 16th. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Now, Mars is direct, but he's still in the shadow period, which means we are still making choices between our ego's shadow and our ego's light, or the winged ego and the grounded ego, or the fight or flight ego and the win-win ego. We can look at this lots of different ways. You are making a choice on which ego you want to implement, so it's very important this week not to be distracted by any old conflicts, not to be distracted by old competition, okay? Whatever competition you've had up in this last era may not be the competition you have moving into the next era, okay? So let go of all that. Right now, we don't know what the race is. So as you take literal steps, that's what Mars is, action and reaction. As you take literal steps this week, make sure you are stepping on a golden brick each step, okay? This is what I call the yellow brick road. Each step is heart-based. Each step is heart-intended. And if you follow that yellow brick road, you know where you will end up, right? Now, Mars won't be out of its shadow for some time, so in some cases, you may be launching this great new Me-ality, but if your ego keeps reacting the old way, you're going to sabotage your new Me-ality. You're going to sabotage your new castle. So I would say this is a time of very much strong inner focus. It was the word I was looking for, ironically. I was looking for the word focus and I couldn't focus. Strong inner focus is what you want to look for, and make each step you take this week an intentional step, okay? Nothing random, and don't take too much time exploring. Now, one of the themes of the week is as we move through the week, the Sun and Chiron come into opposition. Chiron is retrograde in Aries at step 0 Aries, and Chiron moves into Pisces next week, okay, back into Pisces. Now, what this means is, as we are launching the new Me-ality, we have to reorganize. I mean, that's basically what Chiron is. We call Chiron the healer, but we don't really think about Chiron in its other duties, which is the reorganizer. It is Virgo. It reorganizes the closet. It reorganizes the plan. So as we progress with the new Me-ality, we're going to simultaneously come to terms with having to reorganize plans on the opposite spectrum of our consciousness in order to support what we are launching here. And that's going to be the topic of our tea time, by the way. But what it means is you're kind of getting over a hump, okay, when it comes to self-criticism, when it comes to self-doubt, when it comes to uncertainty, when it comes to feeling guilty. Chiron harbors kind of a lot of those insecurities based on past life wounds. So as the sun moves across, as our heart crosses in front of this critic, this organizer, we come to terms with a lot of our self-criticism once and for all. So you may find this week that you really are saying, and that is the end of my codependence, and that is the end of my alcoholism, and that is the end of this job. Okay, so you may find that a lot of healing issues truly do come to an end, or at least it feels that way with this opposition. And then the last interesting thing of this week, as we are launching forward, is the boundary structure is also moving in that direction. Jupiter moves from step 19, which is I manifest new boundaries, to step 20, which is I feel the new boundaries, okay? So once we go to step 20, we are in this new mode with where to draw the line. It's no longer logical. It's no longer planned. It's basically we draw boundaries on the fly. We're all going to be winging it as far as where the boundary ought to be between now and late November, okay? It does mean that things tend to feel like they're moving more fast and furious. It means that you will feel more vulnerable. In other words, you'll feel like you're taking, maybe, you'll feel the risks you're taking, you'll feel the changes you're taking. But it tells me that we are now, this is the last moment of us saying, let's sit down and think about it. This is the last moment. From this week on, launching this Me-ality, we're in the game. And we're on countdown to the Game of Thrones. People keep asking me, what's the Game of Thrones? The Game of Thrones is my little kitschy saying, which obviously comes from the TV series, for I think what our life is about. The last lifetime or generation had World War II. I think we have the Game of Thrones. And I think this Game of Thrones is really a fight for world power, which we have been seeing building in Russia, we have been seeing building in China, in economics, trade, the cabal, you know what I mean, the bank cartel, the oil cartel. There's a lot of old world power that's going to come to a head. We are the generation that deals with this, and this is what I have called the Game of Thrones. So we'll talk more about that, but I want to answer that question live while I could. So it's going to be a big week. We're launching this new Me-ality. We're feeling it all happen. It's kind of ready, set, go, and we are carefully placing our footing as to not make old mistakes. And that brings me to the wisdom I think you need for this week. So go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, friend, and welcome to today's tea time. This tea time topic is launching one thing, reorganizing another. Sounds very Virgo-like, does it not? Virgo is all about multitasking and really being a task master. Virgos are taskmasters. And this week, the universe is going to kind of call upon everyone's ability to multitask and get things done. As the Sun and Mercury are moving forward, and Chiron is moving backwards. And these planets will do this scissor or flyby this week. Now, what's interesting about this is Virgo consciousness, in my humble opinion, is ruled by Chiron. I know I separate from other astrologers out there, but all my research really shows Chiron rules Virgo. Chiron is what we become. And if you study Chiron's orbit, it is so Virgo. It's very like whatever it wants to do. So this week, I think we are really going to be pretty busy. We're going to be, on the one hand, launching this new Me-ality by finishing up the Virgo transit. And on the other, we're going to be actually looking to reorganize the other side of our conscious spectrum. And Chiron moves back into Pisces for one more go-round. It'll retrograde through Pisces and then go back to Aries later next year. But this retrograde means that not only are you organizing the Aries consciousness, but you will start to think about organizing the Pisces consciousness. Now what this means is, as we launch the new Me-ality, we're going to reorganize our action plan, Aries, and we're going to reorganize our spiritual intentions. In other words, we're going to reorganize what needs to come first, what our priorities are, what our soul has learned all this time, and perhaps just because we are launching a new Me-ality, we have to also have a new perspective on ourselves, a new compassionate perspective, give ourselves a little extra leeway where we hadn't in the past, things like that. So for each of the 12 signs, I'm going to talk about the new Me-ality you are launching and how it's time to put your heart and efforts and focus on that new Me-ality. We're in the step 20, so as you are doing it, it's something you feel day by day and you have to kind of coast day by day. This is where your heart and your mind will come together this week to commit and move forward with whatever you want to do in your life change. Then I will talk about the new reorganizing that you have to do. What Chiron at step 0 Aries means for you and where you're going to reorganize that part of your consciousness. And then also where Chiron will move into Pisces next week and how you'll have to organize that in the following. This is to kind of give you a heads up. And as always, I'll give you a heads up on the sign I'm referring to here on the side of the screen. All right. Starting with Aries. Aries are launching a new lifestyle. This may come in the form of a job, where they live, how they live, the car they drive, the clothes they wear, the wardrobe. May go from green collar to blue collar to white collar, okay? So you're creating a new lifestyle. And it's time to focus on that lifestyle. And I have to say, be very conscientious of how things feel. It may be a new car, but it may not feel good. It may be a new job, but it may not feel good. Don't be afraid to make last-minute changes if it doesn't feel right. Now, what's happening with Chiron opposing and reversing in retrograde is you're going to be reorganizing your ego motives. In other words, the reason why you do things. So part of this lifestyle means changing the reason why you do things or changing the order in which you do things. It may also mean changing the way you respond to yourself. As Chiron moves into Pisces, you will begin to then reorganize your spiritual mission. So whatever you feel your calling is on earth, perhaps you've learned some new karmic things, perhaps you've learned things from the family and you're feeling pulled to family karma. But launching a new lifestyle within the back of your mind, rethinking action, and reorganizing spiritual values. Taurus! Tauruses are launching their creative dreams this week. And I have to say, that's totally true. I've had this reinvention of my heart and some of the things that I want to do and want to manifest. So I think Tauruses are full on, ready to make some milk, ready to manifest something their heart wants to create. It could be love, it could be children, it could be a creative project, it could be just a personal dream you've had, like to go out in space, okay? But whatever it is, Tauruses are launching forward, and just like the Aries Taurus, you may have a very detailed plan, but be willing to be flexible based on how things feel from day to day through the week. Now, what you're going to be reorganizing is your fearlessness, first of all. So in other words, to launch this, you have to reorganize your faith and make sure you are fearless. And where this is headed is Tauruses are going to reorganize their relationship to society. They're going to reinvent their status. They're going to reinvent the way they appear. And all this is based on the conglomerate of changes that have happened this year, including Tauruses having full faith now, full faith that they can do it, since Uranus has moved through Aries. So for the Tauruses, launching personal dreams or creative dreams, reorganizing faith and social ambition. All right. Gemini! Gemini are launching a new home life or foundation. So a new foundation for life. Foundation for life is how you emotionally end up feeling. Many ingredients go into how you feel, such as how much sleep you have, where you live, who your roommates are, how long your commute is. But it's overall how well you are cared for or not cared for by yourself. So Geminis are launching a new self-care strategy. What they have to reorganize is where they belong in the world. So I imagine this new self-care strategy will require them to withdraw from certain social habits, certain social hangouts, or social, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for when you have a social, I cannot think of it right now, hobby. Thank you. I wasn't going to drop that. So they might be withdrawing from some hobbies or something that involve other people. And that is because it will be in the way of what they're trying to launch with emotional security. Now, as Chiron retrogrades back into Pisces, this is all part of a greater reorganization of Gemini's future plans and legacy. So Geminis are reorganizing their career, their legacy, what they want to leave behind on the planet, what they want to aim for in the long term. And this is all part of their new foundation. Cancers! Cancers are launching a new logic or a new plan. This could be a business plan, an intellectual property, the creation of something, the communication of something, a connection like an alliance with someone, a cooperation. But it's a new plan, specifically a new logic, a new way of them thinking, a new mindset or attitude. So you could say they're also launching a new attitude. And what this will cause them to reorganize are, for one, they'll have to step away from old future decisions or future commitments they had once thought they'd be a part of. So this new plan probably requires that you withdraw from some old commitments. This plan also requires that you reorganize what your life's true calling is, what brings you purpose, what brings you meaning, what is spiritually holy to you. Okay, so you are moving forward with a new attitude, which means you pull away from certain decisions and you begin to reorganize what the spiritual purpose or plan is anyways. Leos! Leos are launching a new money train. And I say money train because I was very intuitive about it. I think Leos are looking to make more money. They're looking to produce new things. They're looking to express their creativity and make cool stuff. So they're launching some sort of abundance plan or money train. It could also just be material, such as they're setting out to build their own piano or tiny house or something, okay? But as you launch this money train, Leos will be stepping back from old beliefs they had about themselves. So this new train may actually go against what they once proclaimed or once thought or once believed. So there's some reorganizing of their belief in self. And then as Chiron retrogrades into Pisces next week, they begin to reorganize their personal boundaries for a more powerful transformation. So they're going to have to reorganize what they open up to and what they don't open up to in order to make this full transformation and in order to get this money train on track. Virgos! Virgo! Happy birthday, Virgo. This is an intense Virgo year for you. You are launching a new character. A new character is a subset of behaviors, intentions, planned responses, your defensive behavior, and also how you're how you're known. So Virgos are coming out with a new and improved Virgo that they're launching. That could also include an action plan and what actions you plan to take on Earth. Now, for that to happen, the first thing they have to do is step away from certain boundaries. So Virgos might have said never, and now they're kind of having to eat those words. Never say never. You may have to be changing what you said yes or no to, and this might just be what you said yes or no to with yourself, not so much with others. So you're reorganizing your self-trust. And as Chiron moves into Pisces next week, what you begin to reorganize is your long-term relationship strategy, LTR strategy, okay, LTR. So you're going to come at relationships from a different perspective as a result of this new character and reorganized trust schedule. Okay, so it's launching a new character and reorganizing relationships and trust. Libras! Libras are launching a new soul mission. So this is something their soul wanted to accomplish while incarnated on Earth. It can involve yourself, it can involve others, it can involve your family. Because it's spirit, because it's the nothing into something energy, we can't define what that no thing is. But you are defining it, and you are ready to launch some sort of personal spiritual endeavor, something you feel called to. Now, in order to do that, you must first reorganize and withdraw from a certain way of treating yourself. So however you've been treating yourself, there will be modifications and reorganization to self-treatment in order to launch this personal dream. As Chiron retrogrades into Pisces, you will then have to reorganize your lifestyle. That's your way of living, day-to-day, work, health, the whole 9 yards of what we call reality, all 5 senses. You'll be reorganizing all of that as we begin next week to accommodate whatever this spiritual mission is. Scorpios! Scorpios are launching a new social agenda. So this is the latest and greatest of what Scorpios know. And I have gotten to know Scorpios and talking to them, and they're telling me that whatever they're launching right now, it's kind of temporary. For them, they've all told me that they have another kind of plan right behind this plan. So I just want to pass that on. That's one of the things I do is listen to a lot of signs and what they're going through. But you're launching a new social agenda. This could be a new social image of yourself, a new power, such as now you're department chair or now you are senior vice president or something like that. But in order to move forward with this, you have to reorganize the way you treat your body. Okay, so you have to withdraw from some certain attitudes or aggressions that you put on your daily self or body. You have to reorganize the way you manage your energy in the moment. Okay, you will also then retrograde back into Pisces where you will reorganize your personal dreams. So the big picture of what your heart really wants, you start to reorganize that next week after you've launched this latest update to your social agenda. Sagittarius Sagittarius are launching a new career legacy. This is new trajectory. They're pointing an arrow to a new target where they want to end up on Earth. This is family legacy, business legacy, what you want to be known for. So my grandma left behind a legacy of cross knitting, like a legacy of all sorts of yarn-based creation. So it's not always professional. And for my older clients out there, it's what you want to leave behind. So Sagittarius are launching something new in their legacy. For them to do this, they must retreat from certain ways of loving themselves. I would imagine that was a lack of loving themselves. So I think they have to retreat from a habit of not loving themselves enough, okay? But it could also be a retreating from a lover that always brings you down and makes your life hell. That's not very loving of you to keep putting yourself in the hands of a dark lover, right? So you're retreating from certain ways of treating your own heart. And as Chiron moves into Pisces, this will then shift to you reorganizing your home and family unit, because you're going to realize your home and family unit is not adequate enough for you to pursue the heart you want. You need more support, Sagittarius. You're not traveling right now. You're grounding, okay? All right, and that's launching a career legacy. Capricorns! Capricorns are launching a new life purpose or philosophy of life. So they're basically launching a new, what is meaningful to them. They've changed what's meaningful to them, and now they've concluded what's meaningful to them. This may be career, but it might be family, and it might be travel, and it might be a whole bunch of things. But they're launching life purpose, what gives them meaning. In order to do that, they must reorganize the way they care or don't care for their own emotions. So you will not be able to launch this new life purpose if you are not emotionally supported by yourself in the appropriate way. Okay, so you're going to retreat from certain behaviors with your emotions. And then as Chiron moves into Pisces, you're going to begin to reorganize the grand plan for how everything is going to go down. Okay, and this would probably be your 25-year plan. It's a big one. You're going to reorganize it. It could be your lifelong plan, by the way. Just make sure you're compassionate. So launching life purpose, reorganizing, self-nurturing, and grand plan. Aquarius. Aquariuses are launching life changes altogether. So they're going to be making many life changes, mostly of boundaries, but this could be changing their home, changing their job, changing their commute to work, changing what they do at work, changing their body. It's really changing anything. And that may sound like a kind of deal, a small deal, but Aquariuses don't often change. Okay, so it is a big deal. So hug your local Aquarius. They're probably hating every step of it, but it's okay. It'll be over soon, Aquarius. Don't worry. Pull the Band-Aid off fast. Now that you're launching life changes, though, you'll have to reorganize the way you think. So there's certain thinking that Aquariuses have to retreat from, thinking that disserves the transition. For instance, it doesn't serve you to complain about the transition you have to go through. That just makes it harder. So you'll have to withdraw from certain thinking habits and certain attitudes. As Chiron moves into Pisces, you will then begin to reorganize how you make your money, where you make your money, and raise the ceiling to the potential of how much money you can make. So you are launching life changes that calls for you to rethink your thoughts and rethink your money train. And then lastly, the Pisces. Pisces are launching a new relationship strategy. They may even be launching new LTRs. They might be literally launching business partnerships, creative partnerships, strategic alliances, because it behooves both parties. So they're getting involved in new alliances and moving forward with a new marriage perspective. Now, in order to pull that off, they must retreat from old self-esteem issues. So you cannot go into old poor me's. I'm worried about my rent. I don't know if I'll make money. You got to quit that second guessing of what you're worth, because it will sabotage the new relationship strategy. Then as Chiron goes back into your sign, you'll begin to reorganize your action plan and your character. So you're going to kind of come up with a refreshed version of your character, a new and improved you. Basically, you will be updating the facade of the eon change. I've been talking about Pisces going through an eon change. That change has been happening in the last few weeks, but now you're going to go ahead and get a new awning or something on the outside of your house or something on the outside of your behavior that begins to reflect all this intense change that Pisces have been going through. So many people have asked me about what eon change is. You got to probably get a reading to understand it in completion, and I explain it to my subscribers, but it is basically an era. You're changing karmic eras in your life, and I can go deep in that in a personal reading. So we're launching one thing, we're reorganizing another. It's a pretty intense week, but I think when we're done, we're going to feel really good about it. And as always, what we need to do is add a little cherry of gratitude on top. And now a little gratitude from my heart to yours. One thing I forgot to say thank you for was for all the amazing people that came up from Texas for our last Love Fest day. We had literally 2 or 3 carfuls of people from Texas. They didn't know each other, but we ended up spending a lot of time together. We had a great dinner. I ended up going out and doing some readings and helping them get on their way. So I want people to know that when you come to my events, I take care of you and connect you because I think of it as fated. But thank you to everyone who took the time to come support. I really think it's important, and I really think you're part of our core DNA. So thank you. Love Fest will be back next year. We'll be doing some retreats. We'll be doing some workshops, and we'll also be throwing official Love Fests as well. And if you'd like us to come to your Love Fest or do a Love Fest in your city, if you're a spiritual leader or you have a little posse of your own, just email us at support@seriousjoy.com, and we'll get back to you. Moving on, this weekend I'll be in Portland, Oregon. I'm so excited. I'm sure the weather is going to be perfect. We're doing a 2-day Ascending Hearts experiential event. What this is the Game of Thrones is coming. I believe there's going to be a big fight for world power. I think everyone has to find their personal power. So what I'm going to do is be using the data out of my Serious Joy application for each of the members, and we're going to talk about your A story, your step number, understanding your step number, how to empower what your step is for A or step is for B. And we'll be talking also about how to find your stride with your North Node, which is information I actually haven't released to my subscribers yet. I'm going to give a preview to the people who come. So I would love to work with you and get you ready to win the day. And if you can't afford both days, you can actually do one of the 2 days. It's great to connect. We also have a VIP dinner if you want to come there. For more information about Portland, Oregon, I forgot. I also have 2 amazing, Cinda and Yuri, 2 ladies who will be working on nutrition and making sure you understand the nutrition that's right for your body. So in other words, if you need to eat acidic or you need to actually lower the pH of your food, or if you need to eat more vegetables, we're going to be doing tests and things so we understand the nutrition that we need to stay in harmony and stay in balance. And then Cinda is going to help us get to our heart's core mission, so helping us find what our mission is. I'm hoping that by the end of this 2-day weekend, we're going to be setting off a bunch of light walkers on the right path. So can't wait to work with you all. Now, if you want to drive in, if you're close, we still have some tickets left. You can buy 1 or 2 days. Visit wateki.live for more information. And then I just want to bring up my personal Sensei service. Perhaps you can't come into Portland, perhaps you can't take 2 days, but you can take $19.95 and have me with you every day of the week through this entire transition. Every person who subscribes tells me they don't know what they would do without the service. I invented this so you really don't know what you have until you try it. And you can try for just $3.99. Now, I'm excited to announce that we have a Venus retrograde coming up in October. And for all my subscribers, I'm going to be doing a special series on the Venus retrograde to help you open up. And then I think as we go into Scorpio, we're going to actually do psychic training. I was going to do it in Libra, and now I've decided Scorpio. But it's not just a Sensei service. It's personal learning. It's mini courses. It's having someone by your side 24 hours a day. Come on down to seriousjoy.com and see what I'm talking about. And as always, a warm welcome to come visit us in the Namaste Today Club. This is our little organization on Facebook. So if you'd like to rub elbows and meet other people in the light, come to namastetoday.club. All right, my friend. Whew, it's a whole mouthful there. I hope you have a fantastic week launching your new Me-ality. Remember, listen to your feelings, be flexible, be compassionate, give yourself infinite patience as you're going about it, and I'll meet you on the other side when we go skating into Libra. Until then, remember, I love you, and to live, love, be.
It's serious joy, joy, joy.